Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Important Work. I'm your host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with my guest today, Dr. Jenna Zellars. Hi, Jenna.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Do people call you Dr. Jenna or Jenna?
My patients will call me Dr. Jenna, and then just the people I'm, know from outside of my office is just Jenna.
There is, it's like a chiropractor thing, right? I feel like chiropractors, it's doctor and first name.
Yes, a lot of us do that. We're the type of doctors that don't like to wear the white coats, and
Right.
So we like to be personal and approachable.
So you get the professionalism of the doctor, but then you get like the casualness of the first name.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
That's both worlds.
I love it. Good stuff. You, for everyone listening, you are where in the world?
Rockwall, Texas, about 30 minutes east of Dallas.
Got it. Okay. Nice. Awesome. So tell me about your important work. Like what do you do?
Where do I start?
I know, right?
It started when I was 6. I knew that I was going to be a chiropractor. Not many 6-year-olds even know what a chiropractor is, but it's part of my story. And it was a tunnel vision focus that I had for about 25 years of becoming a chiropractor, becoming the best chiropractor, opening up and growing my successful office. And I did all of that. I was 31 and really thought I had reached the peak of my career. And I was not a happy person. I was all the checklist things that I had accomplished weren't actually making me happy like I thought that they would. So then I went on a soul searching journey. This was in 2015. I had kind of hit rock bottom, suffered with depression, and knew that antidepressant medications weren't going to be the answer. I had to get to the root.
Yeah.
So I went on that journey. I'm still on that journey, and it has looked a lot like reinventing myself, asking important questions. And this continues to evolve and grow. And then as I learn something, I have to teach it. Like it just feels like it's part of me. So I started teaching, about health. And then I started teaching about self-discovery and self-care and how to be authentic. And now, post-COVID, I feel like my most important work started emerging. Really, for the last 30 years, I've been asking myself, how do I help more people in bigger and better ways? And post-COVID was like, Jenna, you've been studying how to be potent this whole time. I love healing. I feel like now the world needs healing more than it ever did. And I also feel like people are waking up who didn't used to have the awareness that healing needed to take place. I feel like more and more people are waking up and seeing, oh yeah, there's some major healing that needs to happen on this planet. I also feel like more and more people are waking up to this idea that I need to help too. And so I want to be that bridge to help people go from, I feel this calling, to what do I do about it? And I feel like that's kind of how our messages have intersected, as you and I feel like we have parallel paths of doing that potent work of helping people help other people. So that's when I created the message of the Potent Healer and the Potent Healer Collective. And I feel like there's so many people that want to help so many people. I want to help them with the things that I've learned over the last 30 years to do that.
Awesome. As you're describing the reinventing part, I could so relate to how many times I've reinvented. And I think if those of you listening to this have are in that space or have been in that space, for me, there were so many times where the internal conversation to myself was like, dude, why haven't you figured this out yet? Like, what? How long is this going to take you? When will you ever get to the spot where it feels aligned and like, this is the right thing? Did you ever have that? Or was it just like every next step was like, oh, this is perfect?
No, it's always that. It's always perfect timing too. It might not be on my time, but I know it's always the perfect timing with someone else's time. And
sure.
It's just like, oh, that's why you wanted to wait and give me this idea, because I had to go through all that crap first. So
right.
Absolutely.
I think that there's a lot of, that's part of what makes the finding of the important work hard, is that and sort of, I don't know, in some beautiful plot twist urges you or forces you into your shadows to start to figure out like, who do you really say you are? Because nobody else gets to say it for you, but you're not going to figure that out unless you get into the shadows of it all and wrestle with it until you come out the other side with some clarity.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the favorite things I love teaching is how do you find that clarity? And sometimes, well, in my experience, I have tried to force clarity to happen and never get the answers that I'm looking for. And so when I just let go, it's kind of like, you know, how I met my husband. I had been forcing this idea of finding Mr. Right. And when I stopped looking, there he was. So
Wow.
I think that the answers that you're looking for show up in similar ways.
How did you specifically stop looking as it relates to professional development or what's next or the important work? How do you proactively, intentionally stop looking so that things show up?
That is a really good question. I think it's dancing with the quest to search and grow and evolve,
Yeah.
and the flip side of like trusting and knowing. So I have felt I've felt this deep tug to, you know, deepen my spiritual path, and really I have to trust. I made 2020, I always pick a word for the year. In 2020, I picked the word trust, which, you know, when March and COVID and having to close down my practice, all of that came, I'm like, oh, you want me to trust now? Okay, well, you know, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So I really had to deepen my levels of trust and just knowing like the answers are going to come. Just like, and when you go on that journey of trusting and you have an outcome of, oh yeah, like that came from trusting, like we're never going to know what's coming next for us, but when we've seen that we've been taken care of every step along the way, and the answers always present themselves, and the people always show up, when you look back and you can see a history of that, it helps strengthen that trust muscle, knowing that that's coming next. And luckily I'd been practicing that for several years. So when I did have to close my practice for COVID, I was like, okay, I'm going with nowhere to go and nothing to do. I'm going to go within. And I just trusted that all the next steps were going to show up, and they did. And that's where my best work feels like it's emerging. So
yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Tell me about the next step. So tell me about the potent healer and what does potent mean to you, and who is it for and all that?
So it's for people who have this calling that they want to help people. So of course I have a lot of friends and a big audience of fellow chiropractors who across the nation, they're closing down their office. And so they are probably juggling with some questions about what their purpose is. And while we can't control the environment out there, we can control how we handle it from within. And so the Potent Healer was created as a way of kind of helping not only myself, but my audience to say, you know what, even though you can't be physically in your office and fulfill your purpose of adjusting spines all day, there still is something else inside of you. There are still gifts. I know that there are still gifts and talents inside of you that if you tap into them and you learn how to effectively share them and, you know, narrow in on your zone, this can help your tribe who are also stuck at home wondering what's going to happen and worried about their health and what supplements they should take and how they can sleep at night. I mean, there's this ripple effect of people being scared and worried and trapped and suffering. But I feel like us who are born to be healers, we can still heal behind our closed four walls via technology. And, you know, I also felt like potency needed to be part of that because we don't have time to waste. Like you can't really, I've dabbled in a lot of things in my lifetime. We don't have time to dabble. We have to be effective. We have to pick something and we have to run with it right now. And it doesn't mean we have to run with it forever, but right now we all have work to do to help things turn around. And, you know, we don't have time to waste. So the more time we waste, the more we're holding up the line, the more the more we could all be suffering in quarantine longer and longer and longer. And so
Yeah.
it's up to us who feel that call to tap into that and really answer the call.
I love that. I think there's a lot of people who are practitioners of things, whether it's massage therapy, Reiki masters, chiropractors, people who are used to doing the work of healing, where some identity was attached to that. And so the identity of like how I heal is with my hands, or how I heal is like this way. And I love it because so much of what I'm doing now with programs for a lot of life coaches, transformational coaches, and healers is like, look, you've got to start to lead a conversation. The transformation happens it can happen in your office. Yeah. But it can also happen in you simply shifting perspective for people. Life has taught you something. And if you passed that on and shared it forward, it would lead others to their own discoveries. And you would get to experience yourself as someone who isn't just defined by or confined to this hands-on work. You actually would start to experience yourself as a bigger change agent than you have maybe been able to in a brick and mortar business.
That's so true. And when you brought up a triggering word that used to be triggering for me is identity. I had my identity stuck in chiropractic, and there were a lot of things that came up as I tried to shed that identity of, what are people going to think of me? And what else? Like, this is what I've worked so hard for. People are going to think I'm crazy if I step outside, and a lot of worries about colleagues and my patients and what they would think. And as I looked past that and I moved through it, I look back, I'm like, oh, that was all just up here. It was all just an illusion, because I think our identity is more like we're humans and we're here to do the things that are on our heart, and we have to use our gifts and talents. So you bring up a really good point about identity, is that, don't allow your identities to be your shortcomings, or your don't allow them to hold you in a box, because if anything, this crisis is showing us that anything can happen, and we need to be adaptable and go with the flow.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And yeah, I love that. And in that the whole world is looking now in different places for answers. And so where if I were someone who would go get adjusted by a chiropractor, and now my chiropractor's office is closed, it doesn't mean that my pain is gone. Like, I'm having to look for other insights, and maybe it's causing me to even look past the pain that was manifesting itself into what was causing that pain. Like, there's so many different layers to go, that I think what's cool about chiropractors is you guys have so much training around more than the adjustment, especially depending on what brand of chiropractic you go. Like, some of the origins of chiropractic care are like really cool, like, way out way out there, which I love. I love that way out there stuff. It's more than just the skeleton. It's like, let's get to the other stuff.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, is most people think of chiropractic right now as adjusting the spine, and this could be our opportunity to say, hey, this is really what else you could be doing at home without the adjustment. Like, there are ways that I help my nervous system calm down without anyone touching me. Like, I can, practice energy work and meditation and stretching and deep breathing. And this is the time where people need all of those tools. And so while I might not be the one teaching those tools, because that's not where I'm really gifted, and that's not where I'm really passionate about, while I have that knowledge, right, I can take that knowledge and find the people who are super passionate about teaching deep breathing. I can say, okay, well, let's create a course for you to teach deep breathing, and let's help it get out to the masses. Or let's find someone who wants to teach stretching or nutrition or exercise or supplements. Like, we can find those people who have that gift and have those talents and potency, right, to help people create that transformation.
Yeah. So good. I love that. You said it in the beginning of this interview, but I've said it for so long too. There's the looking inside for answers, like going inward for answers. And I love that. especially in the context of chiropractic, like there's but it doesn't matter if you're a massage therapist listening to this or anybody that does tactile work, like sometimes the tactile work can distract us from going into a deeper place, right? Like if I just come and get adjusted and I feel good and whatever, that's fine. But it also means that I don't have to look.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is, like you said, is a cool moment in time to actually redefine or expand how people think of chiropractic or massage or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of, it makes me also think back to, so many times what people do before they even come to the chiropractors, they take Tylenol to fix their pain, right? And so then
Oh,
the
right.
next step would be, well, that didn't work. That's not getting to the root. Let me hire someone else to do the work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now, while we're stuck in our own
Mm-hmm.
homes, the responsibility lies on us. And so it's also about taking responsibility for your health and your well-being and your actions, which chiropractors, like, our favorite patients are the patients who do their work outside of their office, because that's going to transcend their results that they get. So this is, again, another perfect time for people to start really taking responsibility and not leaving it up to someone else.
If I had a chiropractor who stayed in touch with me through a show, for example, like I know you have a show, right? Do you actually share your show as a podcast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Who then emailed me or stayed in touch with me through that and said, hey, here's some things to do right at home, or just kept leading me even while I can't see them, would earn my respect so much, right? And when and if this quarantine thing is like gone, and now there would be so much momentum coming back into the practice, versus like, I've been absent with my people for a long time during this quarantine, and now I have to go back and re-energize my list and my database and my customer base. And I mean, it makes so much more sense to lead a conversation with people, regardless of quarantine, just to lead a conversation with people, because it makes the momentum coming back into the practice so much easier.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Well, what do you do? So in the potency, there's the collective. What do you do in the project? So you have a potency project, a 5-day potency project. What is that?
Yeah, so all of this just started 3 weeks ago. We have the Facebook group is the Potent Healer Collective, and that's where we dive in deeper to these conversations, and I find out, what do you guys need to know? But I just started the 5-day potency project, and so I came up with an acronym. It was really a download, so I can't take any credit for it. But I feel like each one of us holds a potency within that has the potential to heal ourselves, heal others, heal the planet, have a beautiful ripple effect. And so this acronym, well, I'm not going to give it away here. It's within the 5-day project. And so H, I started it. We just finished day 2. So H stands for higher self, and E stands for emerge. And I'll share what the other ones stand for later in the project. But our higher self, I feel like, if we have this vision of what we hold for our future self, like our perfect self, our most successful self, our most aligned self, that person is who we want to connect with, because he or she has all the answers, and our potency resides in those answers. So while we, in our small-minded thinking of because we have limiting beliefs or self-doubt, negative thoughts, all of that keeps us from our potency, but our higher self doesn't have any of that. And so if you can visualize your higher self going in and saying, okay, where should I show up? How should I act? What should I say? What should I do? She or he can guide you into what that's going to look like. And that's where I feel like your potency, as long as you're not resisting those answers that come up, that's where your potency can emerge. And then it's about finding, knowing the how of what to do with these answers that are coming up. I shared today, I had a beautiful example of this time I went to a meditation retreat. And I had something emerge within me. It was probably my first awakening. I felt this, it was 2015 at the the downward end of my depression. I was kind of climbing my way out of it, and I had something within wake up and tell me to speak. And it was like this drum that was beating. It was like, speak, speak, speak. And it was really powerful. I felt it in every cell in my body. And I didn't quite know what that was going to look like, because I wasn't a speaker. I didn't have an audience. I had never done a Facebook Live. I was actually quite timid, quite meek, very scared, and barely could finish complete sentences. I still struggle with that today, but, and so I knew that my higher self was speaking to me and saying, like, you need to start speaking, because that's where your next steps are. That's where you're going to find fulfillment. That's where you're going to share your gifts. That's where you're going to help other people. That's where, I didn't know it at the time, but that's where my potency resided, is in my speaking. I could have resisted that. I could have pushed it away. I could have said, no, I'm not a speaker. I'm not going there. And if I did that, I would have, I would have missed out on an amazing opportunity. And my whole life, my personal life, my marriage, my profession, my office, my inner spirituality, all of that is better because I answered the call. And while I didn't know how to be an amazing speaker then, I'm still finding my voice, and I get better and better at it every day.
So good. I love it.
So that's what I'm helping other people tap into in the Potency Project.
Yeah. I totally get it too. I totally get that. I love that too, because the potency lives where it lives, right there. That's where it lives. And I think a lot of times we look outside of ourselves for potent things out there, like, oh, this would be really strong or this would be effective. But like you said, like inwardly, that's where the potency lies. Well, if people want to connect with you, Dr. Jenna, about your Potency Collective or the Potent Healer Project, how do people find you?
We just emerged with a new website, so thepotenthealer.com. Nice. Instagram, I changed my handle to The Potent Healer, and then on Facebook, the closed group, the Potent Healer Collective. I'd love to add you there and connect with you there. So. And
you have a show too, yes? What's the show called?
Yes, so it was the Dr. Jenna Show, and I just rebranded it to the Potent Healer Podcast.
Perfect, so good. Thanks for being on the show, Jenna, and until next time, or whenever I get to see you again, take care.
Thanks, and keep doing what you're doing. It's changing lives. I know it is.
Thanks. Do you have important work in the world? We can help you produce a show just like this one and get your message out in the world. Go to mygroundswell.com to connect with us now.